Welcome to School of the Lost Tribes Radio, where the word speaks not to the world, but to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Clarity helps generate the lessons needed to seal the chosen before the destruction. The account of W.L. Bost and the donkey devil. I remember it clear in my mind. My name is W.L. Bost. I was once enslaved in Newton, North Carolina, belonging to the Bost family. After emancipation, I witnessed horrors that tried to drag back the freedom we had gained. One of the most chilling was what they called the donkey devil. They, members of the Ku Klux Klan, skinned a donkey, got inside the hide, and stalked black folks at night like beasts. They wore long gowns, rode on horseback, crept into our neighborhoods, trying to terrify us into submission. I seen them. I heard the screams. I saw how folks hid their heads, afraid to move. In that moment, I realized that even after slavery ended, the terror went on in another form. How this experience echoes the curses of Deuteronomy 28. In Deuteronomy 28, the covenant laid out to Israel promised blessings for obedience and a long list of curses for disobedience. Bost's narrative can be read in light of these curses. His people endured the reversal of freedom, safety, and dignity. Below are parallels. You will be cursed when you come in, and cursed when you go out. Deuteronomy 28:19. Bost describes how after the war, we were still under threat. When we tried to leave the plantation, when we tried to move about free, we were watched and punished. Your sons and your daughters shall be given to another people. Deuteronomy 28:32. The terror of the donkey devil and clan violence threatened families. Free movement, the right to live together, were under constant risk. You will become a thing of horror and a byword among all nations. Deuteronomy 28:37. The clan's theatrical acts, like the donkey devil costume, sought to make freed black people objects of fear, ridicule, and terror. Then the Lord will bring upon you a nation from afar, and you shall be sold as male and female slaves. Deuteronomy 28:49 and 68. Though formerly freed, Bost describes how the post-war years often meant substitution of one form of bondage for another. Poverty, terror, white supremacy replaced the plantation whip. What happened to Bost in that terror? Bost did not say he was dragged into a donkey devil costume himself, but he witnessed its use, its chilling effect on his community. He lived under the threat. He saw men whipped, women terrorized, community meetings forced underground. The passage from slavery to freedom did not immediately mean safety. The specter of fear lingered. He describes that we were afraid to move, just like tarpons or turtles, just stick our heads out to see how the land lay. The donkey devil chased the faint hope of freedom into hiding. Bost saw that fear replaced slavery's chains. The punishment, the terror, was real. Men whipped, sometimes to death. The dread was nightly. In biblical terms, Bost's people were living under curses of exile, oppression, fear, though not literal chains, but spiritual and social ones. The donkey devil was a manifestation of that curse, making people afraid, just denying them rest, freedom, dignity. Conclusion. Bost's narrative is searing. The donkey devil is symbolic of how terror and systemic abuse replaced the overt institution of slavery after emancipation. In the language of Deuteronomy 28, his people endured curses of being oppressed, robbed of peace, driven into fear. Yet by telling his story, Bost resists the curse. He bears witness. He shows that freedom is not only legal, but lived, and that the promise of the covenant must be worked out in the real world. In W.L. Bost's interview, he recounts experiencing or witnessing the donkey devil as part of the brutal tactics used by the Ku Klux Klan after emancipation. Here's a focused explanation on what he described. The donkey devil. The donkey devil was a terrifying costume-based psychological weapon used by the Klan. Members of the Ku Klux Klan would skin a donkey and then get inside the hide, essentially wearing it like a grotesque costume. Once disguised, they would chase black people, using the monstrous appearance to incite terror. This tactic was deliberately theatrical and cruel, meant to scare newly freed black people into submission and deter them from asserting their rights or seeking independence. Clan terror and intimidation. Bost places the donkey devil within a larger pattern of post-Civil War white violence. Clan members wore long gowns, sometimes with fake heads mounted high, featuring exaggerated scary faces. They would ride through towns at night, targeting any black person who seemed nervy, or showed signs of progress or self-sufficiency. Victims were often lashed, gagged, or otherwise brutalized and left to fend for themselves after the assaults. Purpose and effect. The donkey devil and related clan terror acts served to replace slavery with fear-based control in the post-emancipation South. These acts reminded freed people that white dominance would persist, even without legal ownership. The psychological toll was significant. Bost compares newly freed black people to tarpons or turtles, afraid to move, cautious to emerge, unsure of their safety. The Donkey Devil, in the voice of W.L. Bost. I remember it plain as day. They called it the Donkey Devil. It wasn't no ghost story, not to us. It was real. A thing made by white men who wanted us to feel like we was still slaves, even though they said we was free. I seen it with my own eyes. See, after the war ended and freedom was supposed to come, a new kind of fear rose up. The Ku Klux Klan came through the South like a storm, dressed in long white robes, with hoods so high they looked like monsters. But the worst was what they did to scare us deeper. That's when they brought out the Donkey Devil. They'd take the hide of a dead donkey, cut it up and sew it just right, and one of them Klansmen would crawl inside of it. Imagine that. A man wearing a whole donkey's skin, running through the night like a beast. They'd chase us in the dark, making sounds that wasn't human. They'd ride up, screaming and shouting, looking like something from hell. That was their trick, to make us think even the devil had come down to put us back in our place. They didn't always need to beat us. Sometimes, just seeing the donkey devil was enough to send a man into hiding, keeping his head low, never looking a white man in the eye again. As for me, I kept quiet. I kept still. My mama told me not to stir after dark unless I had a pass or a prayer. I reckon both kept me alive. But I tell you this, I heard them screams. I seen what they did to the ones who tried to stand up, who got nervy, like they say. They'd lash 'em, gag 'em, leave 'em broken in the woods. The donkey devil was just one face of that terror, but it was one we never forgot. Even after all that, we was too scared to run. Bost folks like us, we poked our heads out like tarpons from their shells, just to see if the land was safe. It wasn't. Freedom didn't come with joy. It came with the donkey devil chasing you through the night, reminding you that chains could be taken off. But fear could still hold tight. Wake up and study. Your history, your curses, your choice. Men and women of Israel, my children, my chosen, it's time to wake up. I, Yahweh, call you to stand upright, to study the oppression done to your forefathers, to understand the curses cast upon you, and to know that marrying heathens and mixing into their customs comes at a cost you cannot fully grasp. Ask the former generation and find out what their ancestors learned, for we were born only yesterday and know nothing, and our days on earth are but a shadow. Will they not instruct you and tell you? Will they not bring forth words from their understanding? Job 8, 8-10. You do not know how deep the suffering ran. You claim ignorance, but the past generation knew, and they would teach you if you would listen. You think the donkey devil and theatrical acts by your oppressors in the land of slavery were isolated events. They were not. The curse spoken, you will become a thing of horror and a byword among all nations. Deuteronomy 28:37. That curse didn't begin with one costume. It began when you were scattered, when you were stripped of your identity, when you married out, when you forgot the law I gave you. Here is the truth for you. For Dummies version, study the past generations. Don't dismiss them. Recognize that oppression isn't just physical, it's spiritual, relational, cultural. You were told, don't marry heathens. Don't make friends with those who lead you away from me. That warning stands. Your bondage didn't end with chains. It continued through mixing, through loss of identity, through giving your power away. Why this matters: when you marry into heathen ways and customs, you dilute your covenant with me. When you make friendships with those who don't honor my law, you absorb their curses. You will never fully understand the horror your fathers faced until you stand against the mixing that weakens your line. What you must do now: open your eyes, study the narrative of your people, acknowledge what was done to your forefathers and how the curses still echo. Separate yourself from alliances, marriages, friendships that pull you away from my law. Reclaim your identity as Israel, my remnant, not the world's offspring. Make choices. Will you live under my covenant or under the broken systems built by your oppressors? I am Yahweh. I gave you instructions. I raised you as a people. The time is now. Study separate. Return. Will you walk the path of the covenant or continue blind in the shadow of someone else's history? I require loyalty, not the sons of betrayal. You who call yourselves of my people, yet walk the path of betrayal, hear my voice. I anointed you as a nation, gave you covenant, land, purpose. But among you stand those who corrupt the faith, the informers, the co-conspirators, the tares among the wheat, Uncle Toms, coons, bootlickers. You are the sons of Judas Iscariot, betrayers, paid for in silver, sold your master's trust for a momentary gain. You think you hide. You think you are apart. But your mark is evident. There is no peace, says my God, for the wicked. Yes, your heart may sleep, your lips may whisper deceit, but you cannot escape me. There will be no rest for you have chosen darkness over light. Not so the wicked, for they are like chaff, which the wind drives away. Therefore the wicked will not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the assembly of the righteous. You stand in the assemblies of my people, but you are chaff. When the time comes, you will not stand. Do not set foot on the path of the wicked, or walk in the way of evildoers. Turn from it and pass on by, for they cannot sleep unless they do evil. You, who commit betrayal, cannot rest. Your nights are restless. Your days are driven by greed. Woe to you! They dress the wound of my people with very little care, saying, peace, peace, when there is no peace at all. You promise security to the weak. You silence the faithful. You betray the remnant. But there is no peace when you deal deceitfully. Arise and depart, for this is not your place of rest, because its defilement brings destruction. Your place among my people is taken. Depart from the camp of the righteous, for you bring defilement. But the transgressors will all be destroyed. The future of the wicked will be cut off. You imagine yourself safe, concealed, powerful, but your end is destruction. What this means for you, for dummies. If you betray my people, you are not my disciple. You stand with the traitors of old. You traded loyalty for silver, secret for open shame, trust for destruction. Peace is not yours. You war within. You stir division. You flee truth. The assemblies of my remnant will rise. You who contrive in shadows will fall in daylight. If you still call yourself my people, repent. Tear off the house of betrayal. Leave the path of Judas. If you refuse, know this: my law remains. My judgment stands. The sons of betrayal will not inherit with the faithful. I am Yahweh. My covenant is with the loyal. My kingdom is for the faithful. You made your choice when you kissed the hand that served me and handed me over. Now make your choice: loyalty or the fate of the traitor? Will you stand with the righteous or fall with the wicked? Choose.